Let's start at the beginning, shall we?
Let's, please.
This is In the Shadow of the White, sitting. This is our return to play, our return to exploring these particular kindreds' nightly chaos. This is Season 6, premiere episode 1, Growing Tomorrow. When we last left our coterie, they alighted once more back to their haven, back to their home, back to their actual true sanctuary of sorts, the Piscateers Lounge, which lies directly across from the current incarnation of the Rosie, across the reservoir that has been filled with all manner of local fish and aquafauna. While not far away, not far enough by half, the Rosie too holds preeminence in the neighboring suburb. Having alighted after their most recent troubles and travails, joining in partnership with the Castiglione and Tory outfit. Because while the word mafia is tossed around, it is specifically a more nationalized and sensationalized idea. It is an outfit. The Castiglione and Tories have managed to corner the market on several different vices while hiding their actual criminality behind a plethora of above board and legal businesses. One hand washing the other, keeping them in modern nights things of myth, things of legend. In gaining this alliance by housing guests, they have also obtained, through various other means, a less than pleasurably kept guest, a monster of a man who is at least legally guilty of a significant amount of crimes that would mark and stain his soul. I was just saying, there's an aphorism, there's a quote, that the greatest evils all begin when considering humanity as a moot point. Meaning that once you see humankind as anything but human, it opens the doorway. It is the gateway evil for all of the other greater wrongs and atrocities that man has visited upon man going back time immemorial. And while all those concerns and philosophical debates play in the subconscious of our coterie members, would each of you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your rouse for the evening, because time waits for no man, woman, child, or monster of the dark. The day has travailed. It has happened. It was in the offing and in the past, the very moment you've entered into your safety and sanctuary and closed your eyes. It is now a new night with all of those problems still sitting there. And just like the best benders, the only thing that dying for the day did was remove your ability to think on the problem, not the problems themselves. And there we are. Stress does a wondrous thing. Stress causes all manner of things to fall by the wayside, and we will start in non-alphabetical order with Frost and Dia. The beast has risen. Not that it ever really goes anywhere, but its claws are raking against your insides just enough to be a nuisance, an annoyance too loud to properly ignore. while the other members of the coterie awaken, resurrect themselves for the evening with a freshness that is unmistakably due the peace and constant susurrus whispers of their beast, lazily nudging in the direction of devouring the entire world. So Frost, Dia.
Kind of rolling to her feet and in an all too human mannerism, kind of cupping at her stomach area and rolling her eyes because shut up in there, I'll feed you when I get to it. And first they have to make sure they look good, so to the bathroom, to the sink, primping and prepping, but relatively quickly this evening. She's not going to go full out because there's things that need to be done. What is normally like a half hour or so process is whittled down to a mere 20 minutes of picking out clothing and things like that. So she comes out face washed, devoid of makeup this evening, hair pulled severely back into a bun, some flowy calfskin type outfit on top, very loose pants on the bottom, and heads right for the drink behind the bottle behind the bar.
Does Dia have iron gullet?
She has eat food. She can eat food.
Okay, she's going to the alcohol, not the self-decocted decanter of blood that she took from.
No, that's what she's going to drink.
The blood that she made from the pureed child of our other lovely Toreador, or actual alcohol?
Yeah, the puree.
Oh no, my love. Unfortunately, as she finds out the moment that the noxious remainder of a being enters her palate as it slides along her tongue and fills her with a mild revulsion, her stomach rebels immediately. Her long dead, atrophied stomach begins churning the moment that the very thick and viscous, seemingly delicious blood touches her tongue. The real magic of certain Tremere and certain Wan Kwai coming to the fore. There is some other aspect when they decant and decoct blood into wine or blood into the various substances that they do, and preserving it as such. Blood left corked even still ages. And Dia's refined palate makes her immediately noxious at the idea of drinking down her coterie member's child. At least that's what she tells herself. The truth of the matter is, her beast, specifically her beast, and others like it, cannot stomach cotton or tolerate anything but the freshest of the fresh. It demands life. Would you be so kind? There are two ways that you can go about this. You can force yourself to continue drinking it at the cost of a willpower to keep it down and to keep you from losing, because there's no one near enough at hand to notice what you're doing, but to keep you from losing your own semblance of your face, to keep from spewing the matter back forth as violently and quickly as you can.
What's the second choice?
She can feed it to one of her coder members, and she can divest them of the added. Those with less refined palates, those who have the ability to keep down all manner of things, she can retrieve the essence of it back from them.
Yeah, she's going to recork it and put it to the side like it's still good, and immediately go rinse and like swab her mouth out, and look for one of the employees.
Excellent. And while DM heads about her path to find something far more palatable, Frost. Death has had as many ups. Now, who are we kidding? Let's just call it what it is. Death has had his numerous avenues of explaining to him that there is always a lower level. The moment that he believes he's hit rock bottom, the moment he's believed that it really is as bad as he has believed, there's always something or some being that comes along and knocks the floor out, finding a way to dig to a deeper level of depravity, darkness, and despair. The one constant, which strangely enough in this particular moment keeps his spirit from completely bottoming out, is that voice, the back of his head, his dear old dad. You know, there's a way out of this. There's a easy way out of this. You got two lovely little fillies up there. They were all over you. They watched your show. Nothing like being loved for doing what you do. They were soft and smelled good. Not like you. Not like anyone else that is near you. What could it hurt?
I didn't catch that last bit.
After all, what could it hurt?
Is there a way of just like moving about the day, just trying to ignore him?
Moving about the night and trying to know the voice that is inside your head that only you can hear, that never stops, because voices in your head don't need to breathe. They continue right along.
Yeah, I know that. But yeah, I will just like walk out. I'm looking for something. Actually, would Frost even know? I mean, a quick question. Would Frost know if feeding on animals is needs iron gullet or not?
How would he know? He's never tried yet.
Exactly. So that's basically what Frost is going to go do.
So he's going to go find some family pet and divest a family of a cherished member of their lot.
Forest, you asshat.
So he's going to run off into the dark by himself.
He's going to shapeshift into a wolf, of course, which takes a rouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
how's he going to open the door?
he can get one of his companions, compadres, comrades, to do it. To open the door for him.
Okay. Let me see that lovely rouse footage, shall we?
Rouse? Okay. Booyah!
And as Frost sheds the very last vestiges of his humanity, the tearing of skin and muscle, the shifting of bone, the crunching and cracking that happens as he becomes something else, is unmistakable. Combined with the sounds of the panting and the heavy chested breathing that accompanies him shifting from a semi-bipedal state to that more animalistic state. Seth and Muzan, being as your spaces inside the Piscateer is closer to Frost, there is no way, there is no doubt in your mind that he is being raped by someone's dog. The way that it sounds, the cracking, the tearing, the shifting, it very much is as if some animal is being abused in the little space that he calls his own inside the Pescateers. Seth, having seen him do so before, and the sounds that you try to squelch from your memory, the shifting and slawing of skin, the bursting through of an actual furred pelt, is not something that is easy to stomach, even for the dead. But hearing the effects of it, how much furniture is clearly broken into the shifting and twisting. Yeah.
Seth immediately is like, God fucking damn it, what is he doing now? Seth, because he would have picked the smallest and most corner-like room of the house, as it were, comes out. He isn't blushed, and his skin, his pallor is the more marble-like veined whiteness that he shows when he's using his magic. So he is more vampiric in appearance than most have seen him in, other than right before a fight. He comes tearing through out of his room towards Frost's room to investigate what the hell Frost is up to. Because if he's going animal in the house, that's a problem.
Well, have we probably introduced Seth to problem? Seth, problem, Seth. Would you be so kind as to howl for the man?
Are you talking to Frost at this point?
Yeah. Very much so. And as the door opens with him nearly completed mid-shift, even pained and being tortured by his own flesh, there is some semblance of understanding as to who might actually be at the door, Frost. Or as Seth calls you, proper.
Can I still make out a few words or no?
No, your
Oh.
palate and your throat is completely different.
Oh fuck! I probably should have thought of like writing. Let me go hunt. Open the door for me. Now I'm just going to do a puppy.
So Seth walks into the door, and Frost is in the final moments of change, right?
Yep, roughly midpoint.
He doesn't immediately attack Seth?
No. It is clearly Frost. However, it is also clearly the canine version of Frost as he subsumes into a overly large wolf.
No. My concern is that maybe the change caused a frenzy. So that's
which is a fair concern. But it's a fair concern, and you've seen it before. Unfortunately, that sort of body horror is not something that is, well, easy to forget. And it's even worse so knowing exactly what he is doing. He is giving up all semblance of humanity while maintaining all of his, well, relative sense as a man, all of his relative abilities, his understanding, and without any way to vocalize, without any way to communicate, without anything except for the drive of him, his beast, and all that space in between the two. And Muzan, having heard that noise and hearing Seth's expletive, are you remaining hidden in your space, or are you going to investigate?
Before I decide on that, Muzan's at 4 hunger.
Yes.
I want to risk it and try and heal an aggravated damage, and that's gonna cost 3 rouse checks.
Yes.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
So many things are wrong with me. But for some reason when I play Muzan, I feel like a gambler, so I'm gonna go ahead and gamble here.
Okay.
1. Oh, that didn't last long.
Hunger 5.
2. Can I even roll the third one at this point?
Well, yes and no. Not willingly. At this point, you can't spend a rouse roll for anything willingly. If someone forces you to, however, yes. But at this point, would you be so kind as to deal with the noise? Because as you try to summon the strength of the beast, what you get instead are its teeth and claws.
Okay.
What are you gonna do about it, little boy? You can't defend yourself. You don't even have what it takes to survive being killed. You little nothing. I think I'm gonna call you nothing. No, that doesn't work. What about Mouse? Can you squeak for me, Mouse? Come on, squeak. Or would you like something to help you squeak? Something to plug your holes? And with that, you remember as the very large, very hideous Viking-esque woman stuck her finger into the bullet hole that was in your chest. Nothing like being woken up by a snub-nosed 38 piercing your dead lungs. And as she looked down on you, she sticks one of her large, overly muscled fingers into the hole, digging around. You feel every sense of that pain now as your beast takes on her semblance, as your beast takes on her voice. And remember the way that she smiled, and while she was not missing any teeth, it is easier to imagine her as such. Somehow that makes her less hideous in your mind. That broad, wide nose and jaw that was designed to break bricks. And the veins, oh God, the veins in her arms looked as if they had been made out of steel cords, and they wrapped and ringed and spread out like trees all throughout her pale dead flesh. Come on, Mouse, squeak. You can do it. Come on. I'll give you a little cheese if you squeak.
Okay. What am I rolling again?
1/3 your humanity and your unspent willpower. DC 2.
And before I roll this, clarifying question. Does Muzan actually heal 1 aggravated damage, or has he failed?
He has failed.
Fuck. Well, guess I don't need to ask the other question then. my. Oh. Okay.
Zach, you have been through the very fires of hell getting to this moment of sobriety here. Nothing like the first thing of the evening. The first thing upon resurrecting is seeing the face of someone that actually cares for you. Calabalarshi gently strokes your awakening eyes, your hair, and your jawline, and says, I had to be on my best behavior. Some of the deals didn't go quite the way that they were supposed to, so I have to go take care of something. Keep an eye on your friends and keep an ear out for your enemies. What happens in the next 4.5 hours will determine a lot. So I gotta go take care of this. You keep an eye on them, okay?
It's going to be one of those nights, isn't it?
It is already one of those nights. Today was fucking hell. I'm not gonna tell you about how bad things have gotten, but there's a bunch of hullabaloo going on and people trying to nibble around the edges like little fucking mice. Rats even. Worse than that. Field rats and field mice who have ganged up to try to steal the hawk's feathers. That's just how bad and bold these people. Anyway, I will be back as quickly as I can, but 4.5 hours. Whatever happens, make sure that you come out the best you can for the next 4.5 hours. It's not too much to ask, but it is a whole hell of a lot. I'll be back. And with that, he moves into the tunnels behind your room. Those hidden egresses and those passageways that allow local dignitaries and those celebrities and politicians to come and go into the piscateers without ever quite causing a stir. And then you hear it. A room being destroyed. And the closest room to you, unfortunately, is Muzan. Across the way, there's Frost. Just around the corner, there is Seth. With Dia, of course, having her own suite upstairs behind the actual office for what most people believe is their local club. But yeah, there is a room being destroyed. There's no other way to put it. There is a howling, a raging, a lung-emptying growl. As if somewhere along the way, someone forgot how to open the door and just lost it to frustration.
Oh, fuck. Zach curses to himself as he throws something on and steps outside to see what the heck's going on.
Do you grab the first thing, or do you actually look for something that fits you?
He grabs the first thing he sees that would fit him.
You end up grabbing Calabalarshi's bright lavender silk kimono with the tiger, with the flying tiger across the back and the pelican.
That would fit him?
Well, yeah, it's a kimono style robe. So while it wouldn't be as long on Zach as it is on Calabalarshi, it does fit. It does cover your form. It keeps your nudity from being on display unless of course you so choose. Tying the sash around your waist because it is just the styled robe. It's not the actual full kimono. He steps out looking rather ravishing actually, because the lavender does offset the red in his hair. And while most people would never see the back of the robe, unless of course he turns around and walks away from them, it's, you know, it has a certain kitschy factor, because after all, tigers don't fly, they don't have wings, there's nothing like that, but yet there's something that is mildly warming, because while kindred don't have a scent naturally, at best it would be the absence of things. They don't have the sweat, they don't have the chemicals permeating their skin, so they don't have their own particular scent. Calabalarshi does. There is a hint of spiced sweetness about the robe, and it's not from any of the parfum or colognes he actually wears, nor from his hair mousse, but there's something about it having been against his skin. And you've checked several times. No, there's no vitae in it. There's nothing there, but there's very much something there. It's almost as if everything that he has holds a bit of warmth that should be impossible for the kindred.
Note to self. Next time, hit the closet. Too late to do that now, because Zach's heading over to see what's going on.
Now, Muzan, you have a choice in this particular moment. You need blood. You need fresh human blood. The door is closed, so you haven't quite torn through just yet. But with your strength, it's only a matter of time. Do you spend that willpower to cause yourself to pause and freeze and obtain one singular action, or do you ride the wave, which gives you an opportunity to pick your targets? Or do you just let the frenzy go?
I'll ride the wave.
Excellent. The door opens. Zach is there. You know that they are not fresh, delicious, needed pate. However, there are staff members. So bartender, waitstaff, or one of the cleaning crew.
So Zach's the first person I see?
Zach is the first person you see. You get a chance, being as you are riding this out. Bar staff, wait staff, cleaning crew.
Which of those three is closer?
You guys are opening for business. It's nighttime. It's party time. So all of them are within range, within an easy sprint of your door.
Second question, which one smells most delicious? He does have Bloodhound still.
Oh, I see. Well, in that case, this is, give me one quick second. We're going to go ahead and use our new tool here. Bear with me one quick second. Where is that at? Oh, there it is. Nope, that wasn't it. Alright, I don't have the syntax, so we're just going to give it a quick roll. Give me a quick second here. What does he find most attractive? Lazy people, depressed people, sexy, happy people, or maniacs?
I guess the happy people.
Alright, do me a favor, go ahead and roll your wits plus awareness for me, please.
That is 2.
Zach, you open the door. Muzan sprints past you, leaping over the bar and savaging the matron herself. The matron who has spent months cleaning up behind you all, making sure that everything runs smoothly, training the new stock of donors so that they could properly serve and service the guests in ways that even the guests weren't aware that they needed nor wanted. There is a brief oop from her as Muzan sets on her. Even in this, she is giving and game, and as he savages her within the range of her life. Is there anything that you are attempting to do? Because as he sprints toward the bar, he sprints past Frost, who is Seth, who is opening the door to peer into Frost, who is now sprinting out in wolf form, and Dia coming downstairs to look for one of the staff members who might easily and willingly give of themselves to the master of the house. So, with all of us being in a semblance of an area watching this happen in alphabetical order, what is it that we are attempting to do?
I think that makes Dia first, right?
Yeah, Dia is going to put on all undue speed and try to tackle Muzan off of her staff member.
All right. That being the case, Muzan, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your strength plus brawl to give us our DC? And while that is happening, what is it that Frost, Seth, and Zach are doing? What's their intentions?
Well, I assume that Seth is, while trying to deal with Frost, he definitely sees Muzan do his thing. And let me bring up Seth, because I haven't done that in a while. Shit, where the hell did I put it? Seth is definitely going to try to intervene as well. And he has celerity. So while he doesn't react completely instantaneously, because Muzan has a head start, he is able to close rather quickly. So he may not get there in time to stop the first bite, but he is going to try to mitigate the damage inflicted.
How so? Is he going to try to stop Muzan from getting there, or is he going to try to tear Muzan off if he does?
He's going to body tackle.
All right.
He's going to use his weight to basically bring Muzan off of the victim.
Frost and Zach, what are you all attempting to do as this horrid, hungry, ravenous version of the person you've seen kill gods charges past you in an animalistic frenzy? What are your intentions?
Oh, Zach is going to try to pull the matron away from Muzan. Basically, he's getting on the other side and trying to pull that way.
Just to clarify, I'm full on wolf now.
Yes.
I don't want to injure fucking Muzan further. But at the same time, I don't think it'd be out of character for him to go to lightly attack his shins to trip him up. You know, just not bite him, but like bump into him, like full force jump into him. You know, like when a dog jumps onto you, if you've ever had a dog.
All right. So that being the case with Dia, Seth, and Frost.
Avoiding the fucking hostage, by the way, just to clarify, because I know you.
With Dia, Seth, and Frost, be so kind as to roll your strength plus brawl for me, please.
KK. Let me just. Yes.
Set the ball, huh? No, that sucks.
What does that send your hunger to, Seth?
Be able to this would put me at hunger 2 because I passed my rouse check because I'm awesome. You used to run yourself at it, but it did not improve things at all.
All right. And Frost.
It was strength plus brawl, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that'd be... Yeah. That is not the right channel. Sorry. Forgot to have wolf form on, whatchamacallit, speed dial.
And Zach, would you be so kind as to roll your dexterity plus athletics for me, please?
Okay. Dexterity plus athletics. Oh.
All right. So, several things happen at once. Intentions be damned, fate will have its pound of flesh. And therein lies the intrinsic problem when kindred, while not necessarily drawn toward flesh, the beast knows that if you chew on enough of it, you will get at least a few droplets of that lovely, delicious, 100% the goat juice that makes it all worthwhile, that delicious, lovely blood, that, and on occasion, melon sweet vitae. And as the dog pile, including the pun, sat on Muzan to keep him from savaging the matron, the lady of the house who has kept things running in your absences and worked as diligently as you all to ensure that while occasionally it happened that at least superficially no one shat where they ate. And Zach pulls her away, or at least attempts to, getting her farther out of Muzan's grip, enough time for Dia, Seth, and Frost in their combined efforts to cause Muzan to begin to stumble, which is probably the worst thing you could do, is get between a lion and its meal. His maw, overgrown, filled with jagged stalactites that worked in a similar way as teeth. His bite seeming all the more saw-like as... Would you three roll 1d each? The lowest number is the person that gets the opportunity of enjoying the effervescent, refreshing clamp down of the wild beast that is Muzan currently.
Roll what?
1d10.
1d10. Got it. Sorry.
Dia's speed, managing to get her to bounce in and slip past as his face twists around, his claws rake out as he begins falling, and the fact that Frost is a quadruped at this point. He's just beneath notice and too hard to reach in this particular moment. Muzan clamped down on Seth's forearm. Now there's pain, and then there's what this is. The fact that there's so many of those jagged things immediately piercing his dead flesh. There should be pain. There really should. There should be more pain than you've ever felt. At least that's what you prepare for mentally as you see it happening almost as in slow motion. But the truth of the matter is that even as grotesque as Muzan looks, even as wickedly deformed as his maw is, his vitae-tinged saliva, his very kindredness, causes the moment that his teeth sink in, that feeling of bliss his victims have, to begin washing over you. There is always a triggering of those pathways of pleasure in the kindred brain when giving the kiss, when absorbing the life's blood of another being. Being on the receiving end of it is, strangely enough, almost as pleasurable. Having given the kiss, you know immediately all of the pathways that are light and how all-consuming that joy and that release is. You didn't think anything anywhere in this world or the next could come close. But there very much is the real fact that right now, what were you so concerned about? You probably should have let the matron have it, because this is actually damn nice. It's real good. It's mellow. It's surprisingly titillating. That little back portion there that you barely use in your brain. You could stay like this all day. Wait a minute. If you stay like this all day, you'll die. You'll finally die again. You could see as those thoughts chase themselves around Seth's brain. Muzan, it is not the good stuff. It is not the soul of a living being, but it is melon sweet and it goes down like a fine wine. This, while it's not the stuff, it is very close to the ticket and it is damn good. And Seth, for the record, what is your blood potency?
My blood potency is 2, permanently and forever.
Ooh. Well, you're not a snob, Muzan. Well, you're not a sommelier of blood and vitae. This is damn good. This is a right nice vintage. You should probably get more of this. In fact, you are getting more of this. You should probably empty this all into yourself, because it's not like you're going to have this opportunity again. Or will you? Watching Seth's face blank over a little bit, just a small hair, his jaw goes a little slack, and looking like death warmed over does nothing for the absence of being in the moment that comes over him. He already glassy-eyed, already empty of the light of the living, but there's something strangely pleased about him in that moment. Those of you who have engaged in partaking of being the victim and receiving end of the kiss know exactly what that is. That is the pleasure that comes in that moment. It's why the victims of your kiss lose moments. They have the details kind of sort of almost approximately right. They had a rough time and it was really good, but they don't have the details. Everything begins looking gauzy, or like a Gaussian blur over everything. What you thought happened may not have happened, and so your mind begins filling in that absence. It begins filling in and jumbling things together, much like a dream. And that peace, that bliss is washing over Seth as you watch it happen. That mirror of that begins washing over the Pharaoh rictus grin of Muzan as he takes in a mighty fine year. His growling and snarling a little softer. Not quite kitten-like, but definitely not the raging 2-ton tiger that it formerly was. His muscles don't strain as he claws and holds on to Seth's forearm. They hold firmly, but there's no need to try to tear through it to keep the arm for himself. And while it's still early enough in the evening, you don't have much in the way of non-kindred in the area. They're all staff, but this is irrefutably somehow far more intimate than it should be. And even though you each have your own ideas and your own perceptions of what's taking place, because of what you've all partaken of, there is pleasure and revulsion fighting for control in each of you, because you can feel your imagined pain of having something taken from you, and you can feel the actual joy in watching Muzan enjoy himself. There's a real pleasure that you don't really want to touch on in seeing someone you love have a good moment. Just as there is a small pain in the chest where the heart once beat, watching Seth die. Because that's what the end of this is. That's what this hold on him leads to. You've seen it happen with your own victims. The willingness to be in this moment until there are no other moments. What do you all do? In alphabetical order, Dia, Frost, and Zach.
Dia looks at Muzan and Seth, and then looks towards her matron. Seeing they're safe mostly with Zach, says to Zach, make so she's okay and take her to clean up. I will attempt to handle this. And then turning towards Seth and Muzan, snapping her fingers in front of Seth. Snap out of it. He's drinking you down. Do something.
Frost, Zach.
Am I in between Seth and Muzan, or how am I situated?
You're technically what Muzan is resting his knee on, but you're not trapped. Much like the dog that gets under your feet as you try to move and he circles through your legs and around your legs. That's where you are.
Okay, I'll lean on that. I'll try and trip him. Make him fall to the ground. Release his grip.
Okay. And Zach?
So wiggle.
Zach looks over to the matron and attempts to assess any present injuries.
She is not wearing pearls. She is wearing a well-tailored, but not form-fitting leather ensemble. She looks exactly as you would expect a modern remix of Morticia Adams to look. You can tell that she is 100% female and womanly in her current state, but it is not the thought-provoking, painted-on latex that many wear. It is a leather suit. It is a leather dress that covers her from neck to ankle. However, while highlighting her curves, it doesn't hug them too tightly. It doesn't force her form into a particular look. It highlights her curves without being overly suggestive. It hints and teases. And while she's not wearing pearls, her left hand is resting against her collarbone as she, for the first time, looks a little frazzled. And all of the many months of knowing of her and knowing her, this is as close to troubled as she has ever come. And it's just a light frown sitting there. She tries to parse what she's actually seeing. She knows what you all provide and engages the staff in providing it the best way possible, but she has never been this close to it. This is very much clearly from that lightly rampant breath that she is exuding. It is clearly a very near sexual moment for her. And while there's no immediate flushing of the skin, there are the pricking of her eyes, her pupils being so very large in this moment as she takes in every detail of Muzan's face as he divests every ounce that he can of Seth. Oh my.
Zach looks over and asks, "Where's the nearest kit?"
Where's the nearest one?
Nearest kit.
Kit? Which kit are you referring to?
Like a first aid kit.
Medical triage. Right this way. Are you injured?
I was more concerned about you.
I am quite all right.
Then Zach looks down and notices what he's wearing. And he kind of pulls her away from the scene and towards his room. If you'll excuse me just a moment. And he basically goes inside, goes into his room with, ideally, the matron standing in front of the door, and changes into something more Zach-like as quickly as he can before stepping back out.
And while Zach is leading the matron away, Frost, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and brawl in the attempt to try to trip instead of tackle Muzan. And while Frost rolls that, Muzan, would you be so kind as to roll your wits plus composure to see if you can, after divesting Seth of at least one hunger's worth of vitae, come to a semblance of yourself. Now, typically you won't be able to stop until you get to hunger 1, but you may be able to pull yourself away with a willpower roll if you are successful here.
What hunger is Muzan currently at after having already...
4.
Okay.
Okay. It's just not in the cards for you, unfortunately, my friend. Seems as if you will be the final moment of Seth's existence. Seth, would you be so kind as to go ahead and make that roll that's there in the messages for you? See if you can pull yourself free of the hold of the kiss as Dia snaps her fingers and tries to bring you into the moment that you are slowly disappearing.
Give me just a second.
Now you know why it's so easy to fall prey to the kiss. While you have done everything you can to never actually engage in drinking another living thing down through your moral compass, that you've held it at bay and take no real pleasure from feeding. In this moment, you can understand why it would be a willing choice for quite so many. of the blood freaks and the blood dolls and those who are fang bait for the rest of their existence. If it has this much hold on you in this moment, you could imagine what someone who is flooded with all of those endorphins, was flooded with all of those lovely concoction of pleasurable chemicals released in this moment would be. It's very easy to see how they become addicted to this, how they would be willing to sacrifice every facet of their being for this. But you're not someone such as that. You're no longer living. There are no chemical endorphins coursing through your system. And Dia will look poorly on you if you succumb so easily, as much as there is a push in you to give Muzan what he clearly wants, because, well, though you'll never admit it aloud, you actually do love him. So what are you doing, being as your hunger is now 1 increased?
I'm down 1 hunger, so that takes me to hunger 3 now.
Yep.
I'm gonna fucking get away from him. I mean,
Excellent.
My last conscious effort was trying to tackle him off of the woman.
Yes.
And now he's like a lamprey stuck to me.
Oh, yes.
So my efforts will be to immediately remove him from me and try to get him to wake the fuck up.
Excellent. Frost, would you be so kindness to go ahead and roll that dexterity and brawl? And Seth, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your strength plus brawl? Muzan, would you be so kind as to set the difficulty for us by using your own strength plus brawl?
Would a specialty in grappling apply here?
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, yes. And also, was Muzan at 3 hunger now from having eaten Seth?
He's at 4. This is the same turn as that.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm blood potency too. Doesn't he get 2 points?
No. All of the mechanical factors have been considered.
Okay.
I apologize in advance, everyone.
Frost, roll high. Seth, roll high.
Roll higher. Roll higher. Is that what you're telling me?
Pretty much. Do your absolute best in this particular situation, because while it is not necessarily the kindest of ways to go, it is one of the most pleasurable ways to go, and you will very well potentially go. Slip away with a smile on your face. Oh, all right. Well. Dia, have you driven down the road and looked to the side and noticed that there was a car on the train tracks as it shouldn't be, as the train was coming? That is very much what you witness, a comedy of epic train wreck happening when you can't avert your gaze. You see Seth doing his abject best to twist and turn and try to escape without harming Muzan, as Muzan clamps on with a skill that could only have been learned from doing such to something and someone else previously. It's to practice even in his mindless state. And while that struggle of wills is happening, you watch as Frost's huge lupine form that he has, a semblance of a wolf with the strength of a chihuahua, begin trying to tangle through and tangle up and trip up Muzan. There is the undeniable telltale physical signs. Frost's tail is down, his ears are up, There's no snarling, no growling, but there is something afoot, something amiss. And as Muzan kicks Frost in the ribs, you hear it, that yowl of pain of a dog kicked once too many. And he clamps down on Muzan's leg.
So blood from Seth to Muzan to Frost. Perfect.
How
The
much
vampire centipede.
It is very much a kindred centipede.
Yes. Oh no. Yeah, not a happy camper right now. I swear, I think I'm going to have to get the hose. I don't know what the fuck else to do in this situation, or a pry ball or something. And sure enough, she's gonna go look behind her or something within reach and try to stick it between them and work them apart.
Okay. So while looking, it's amazing how few items that may work as a pry bar. One of the things that you know that has been through the ringer, has been tested and proven to be, I'll send you a picture and you decide on whether you would like to use it. I'll send you the link. Because in the end, you have to compete with not just one kindred's strength, but your own as well. And you must believe that will have that strength enough to at least withstand that pressures. Something that won't potentially mortally wound either of them. Would you choose to use that? Yeah.
Hold on, I need a minute to stop laughing. Sure, why not? Let's go for it.
Please stop laughing. I mean,
taking your tool and wedging it between jaw and forearm and doing your best to apply enough leverage to get it in position to use as leverage to pop them free. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your strength plus melee? Zach, properly dressed with the matron who leaned oh so very tastefully against your doorframe without actually crossing into your threshold, not invading your space, but keeping you company as you change, and walking with her to retrieve the medical kit, and is surprisingly well stocked to amend all sorts of needs of medical aftercare. As you all have the medical kit in hand, do you head back to the bar to help your coterie, or do you stay with the matron?
Zach looks over to the matron and advises her not to move an inch as he heads over to the coterie.
Did you try to rouse, by the way?
No, I didn't try to rouse. I just was gonna roll because she has a strength and melee is 1, strength is 2. So I went with 3, but then I didn't see that you said she has a +2. So I went back and re-rolled the 5 plus the 2. 5 die and 2 hunger.
Okay.
And got a 2. So I don't know, should I do a rouse check? Because I didn't want to waste it on that. And make her any hungrier.
No, I was just curious, making sure that you were aware of all of the tools at your presence. Zach, there is a certain comedy inherent in watching 3 kindred struggle with their beast. One literally in the form of their beast, one who naturally looks like a beast, and the other dealing with that most human of beasts, that drug that keeps most humans locked into the same rigid patterns. Pleasure. Or to be more accurate, the escaping of pain. And there's Dia wedging a shaft of fairly rigid and strong plastics between them, attempting to pry them free. Is there anything that Zach would try to do?
Oh, seeing how well pulling the matron away worked out. Zach is now moving over to try to assist Dia in her efforts.
So, latching on with all your strength to the rigid plastic between them, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your strength plus melee with a +1?
Strength melee +1.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, that actually ties. Though, have you ever seen what happens when you pull a binky or a pacifier from a baby who's sleeping and still wants that so desperately? And imagine that face looking as if it had been carved out of stone and filled with a shark's mouth instead of a human's. And that's what you have as you... The combined efforts, the leverage and fulcrum, the efforts of everyone working together manages to free Seth from the maw that is Muzan. A moment denied, but yet still being lived because it's happening slowly but all too quickly, as finally the pain of Frost settles in, because the pleasure of the kiss, broken though it is, gives a moment of strange denied clarity. First from the tool that was used as leverage and fulcrum, to the fact that this dog, this wolf, is gnawing on your calf. What is it that you do?
So, 2 quick questions. Is Muzan still frenzying, and what is his hunger now?
His hunger is 3, and no, he is not frenzied. And Seth, increase your hunger by 1.
So now that...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go right ahead. You were saying?
I was going to say, now that he's finally back to... or in control of himself, he turns to the dog and says, "Will you get the hell off of me?" And tries to shake him off.
Pure strength plus strength roll. There's no real need to roll. There's no way that Frost, unfortunately, would tie with Muzan's strength. So shaking him off is considerably easier for you than it is for him to hold on, especially being as it was a craven act that even he knows is not him. It was his beast. It was... it's set up... So shaking him off is fairly easy. It's light work, as the saying goes. The tool used to separate you two, however, is not a light thing to cotton or to swallow down. As you and Seth, Muzan, Frost, and Dia, and Zach look at the tool in their hands and look at what has become of you all, what is it that you all choose or say or do at this point? It's been a rough few moments. Resurrecting has never been like this, and may never be like this again.
Fun.
Dia? What the fuck is that?
Primal?
That is the most phallic-looking crowbar I've ever seen.
Well, it did keep you from full-on killing Seth.
Fine, you got me. It's a toy, but it was behind the bar, and I still don't know why that is, but it worked, so there we go.
Yeah, about that. Sorry, Seth. I'm a little peckish if you can't tell. Still am.
Seth is grumbly as fuck. Coming out of the stupor that is the post-kiss moment. Seth is a weird combination of angry and understanding. After their last come to Jesus. No. He's beyond disappointment. He's dealt with vampires for a while, so he's beyond disappointment. But he is definitely... he has feelings about all of this. He looks at his arm, which has been mangled. Because dude needs to see a dentist, like, stat.
I think it's about 100 years too late for that. What I need to see is a hematologist. By that I mean I need blood now.
Well, you had enough of mine, motherfucker, so you need to, like, chill out just for a goddamn minute.
Do you have any idea how many bullet holes went through me?
About as many teeth as went through me. So, you know, we're like right there. We're right there, brother. I've worked with you. I've dealt with you. I've always dealt fair with you. Right now, we need to chill the hell out and compose ourselves and deal with our current problems in a way that would make our Baron proud. And And I promise not to.
She's standing there with this giant thing, and she's got one hand on one hip, and she's holding it like a pointer. And every time she moves her hand, it wobbles. So she's like, we wouldn't have to go through any of this if you two idiots hadn't run off and got shot at.
It's my job.
Protecting an investment.
And it's my job to get shot at. It's what I do. Because if I'm getting shot at, you're not getting shot at.
Yeah, but then that investment jumped off the building, and me and Zach had to catch it. Speaking of which, where the fuck is that guy? I think I left him locked up somewhere. And the girls, we need to check on them as well.
Frost sniffs the scepter and then walks over to the Zach and sniffs his clothes.
Zach is currently in his own clothes now, seeing as how he changed.
Oh. Never mind. Rude.
I don't mean to impose on your orders at all, but I think me and Muzan need to take a moment and clear our palates, as it were, before we do anything else, because it definitely seems like
arcs.
It definitely seems like it definitely seems like we are in a moment of transition in our usefulness, because he can't keep it in his face, and well, what little I had, he took. And he's at hunger. Seth is at hunger 4 and blood potency 2, so he is dark. Like, he is by and large the most vampiric looking of all of us. He's hungry, pale, and scary. He's managing to bring that all together into a single look. If there's anything in the house that might assuage my current condition, that would be stellar. And Seth does have Iron Gullet. He does have Eat Food, and he is a bagger. Among this group, I think he's a known bagger.
I still don't get how you stomach that shit.
It's like donuts, man. High calorie, can sit on the dashboard of a car at a stakeout forever. It's just food. Yeah, I realize a steak tastes better.
It is nowhere near food. There's nowhere near sustenance. The difference between what the donut is and what bagged, fractionated, or worse, blood is the almost antithesis of food. Even for kindred, even for humans who devolve and begin drinking blood or taking the harsh blood of their fallen victims, it is the antithesis of that. It is so much worse. And while Seth justifies it and works with it as best as he might, it is nowhere near the truth. It is the one consistent lie he has told everyone, including himself. And in that realization of the lie that she is listening to, there are certain things that fall into play for Dia. They have 3 human who are not part of the staff. 3 living, breathing, needing food and needing sustenance humans who have been here the entirety of the day. And there's that very old aphorism that she grew up with. Logs only work for the honest. And 3 humans alone by themselves for the majority of the day until the staff began coming in a little more than an hour ago, opening up for the evening hours so that they can have the neighborhood sports bar and dive upstairs and what the Piscateer actually is. But in the middle of all of that, 3 humans alone in their space. One of them, a devout, criminally minded monster of a man.
That one we wouldn't have let wander around.
No.
We locked him up last night.
Again, locks work for whom?
Some bad happenings.
I mean, if they're vampire strength locks and he doesn't have the key, how does he get out of them?
You may test the veracity of that hypothesis at your earliest convenience.
Well, Seth is a bagger out of convenience. Because
That's not what you meant. You basically just told me to fuck around and find out, so.
No. I'm just throwing this out here as a lens to watch this through. Seth is a bagger out of convenience because he's too fucking lazy to hunt for real, and he has other shit to do. If he has to hunt, he can't be the second. So it's the same idea with cops eating donuts. They eat donuts because they're high in calorie, high in sugar. They keep you the fuck awake and alert. It's a habit he just continued when he joined the Unlife. If Dia sets him loose, especially now that his blood is thickened, he's gonna go apeshit.
Seeing that not much is going to get done until people get fed, she is going to give Seth the bottle that she originally tasted and found lacking, but not tell him about her tasting it. She just slides it towards him. Might as well drink the whole thing. And then, because that's bothering her that she hasn't seen either of the girls, and she knows where she left him locked up, she's gonna go check.
As Dia walks away from you all, what do you do? Frost, Muzan, Zach, what are your intentions?
Well, Muzan is still hungry, still full of bullets, and needs to heal, so he is going to find food and try and recover and heal as much as possible.
Is he going to use the services that the Piscateers offers? Or is he going to leave the building?
He will he'll ask Dia if it's okay to use the services.
She is walking away.
Muzan will follow after her to ask.
All right. As Frost and Dia begin, as Muzan and Dia begin walking away, Frost, Seth, Zach, what is your intention watching the way the course of this evening has started?
Oh, well, I want to investigate the that scepter. Is Dia still holding it?
She didn't put it down, so yes, actually she is. She's walking with it. It's almost cane-like.
Would I have the smell of the cane still in my nostrils?
Oh, there is a definitive scent to it that is unmistakable.
Yeah, so I want to go to Zach's room now. Of course, I'm going to
First, you may want to get the scent of the scepter in your nose to really get an idea as to what that might be. And while you inspect and follow along, while that's happening, Seth, Zach.
Seth's gonna drink the whole fucking bottle of wine. He's not even gonna slow down. He's gonna knock it back like a 12-ounce of Budweiser.
All right, so
Zach is taking a moment to collect himself as he pulls out a cigarette and heads into his room to light up.
Okay, so you leave as he uncorks it. Here's a good question for you. What is Zach's the total number of dots that Zach has for wits and insight?
Okay, wits and insight. Okay. Assuming that I managed to, in fact, raise it using my XP, that would be 5. But if I did not raise insight, it would be 4.
Okay, so it is above 3. You remember exactly how that bottle got filled. That's your child. Or what's left of them. Glug, glug, glug.
Seth's not being subtle. He has just been fed on. He's at hunger 4, so he's taking it down like a frat boy doing a beer bomb.
Yeah, there's no mistaking that bottle. You were there when that bottle was filled. You were there when that happened. There's no subtlety in it for you. You're literally watching that happen with your child.
And it definitely disgusts Zach, but right now his mind's kind of somewhere else. And he's reaching for a second cigarette to light up. He's basically going to be smoking 2 at once.
All right. And down the hall, as Dia is heading to check on their guests, and Frost is scenting and smelling and inspecting the pry bar used.
Excuse me. It's more like
So Dia steps into the space that she had moved.
No, you're walking down a hall.
Oh, yeah, well, on the hall still, basically. Looking behind her at Frost and confused. Do you mind? It's not a chew toy.
I mean, it might be for some people.
Frost stops sniffing and then gives a very human look. Like, come on, I know it's not a chew toy. Like the bitch please look a dog gives.
And please, remind me, when the hell did I start opening a kennel? This is a bar. Looking at Mulan and then Frost.
There is a certain odoriferous factor to the pry bar that is unmistakably engaging for you, Frost. It doesn't do much for you, but there's a scent there that stirs a memory of being stirred, as it were. And it's curious. Like you've had that scent before. You just can't remember exactly, like in the moment where you are. Can't remember when the last time you smelled something that flavorful, something that engaging and arousing.
What about that redhead lady? Was that maybe the last time? The lady that was, what's her name's friend? Dia's friend. That died. No offense to Dia. Or no?
No, it's definitely not a kindred sin. It's definitely something else. And it's like having lost a word. You got it out of your brain. You had the sentence all prepared, and then as you began to speak it, the word floated away, disappeared, up in smoke. And it's that mentally. It's something that's there. You know, have an idea of what that scent is, but you just can't. And it's. And that's where Frost is, that curious pushing and poking at the back of his mind. And while that's happening, you all get to the door where you kept two of your guests at least. And there's sounds of tears. Unmistakably so. The sound of quiet sobbing. And the scent of the dankest, of the stickiest, of the ickiest.
Dia is going to very politely knock. Hello? It's Dia, you're staying here with me. Is there something wrong? Can I open the door?
And with that request, that extension of respect and privacy that no other guest has ever had, especially some other guests that are not female, we take a 10-minute break. It is 20 after. We'll be back at 30 after. Well, welcome back. And while Dia knocks, hey, sweetie, is everything okay? Are you hot? And as that's happening at the bar, here's the thing. Everyone knows and has tossed off that bon mot of the blood is the life. This isn't blood. It is so much more. It is a sweet, almost barbecued taste on the tongue. It's a fruity glaze over some very well done steak or ribeye, smoked and grilled and with a slightly tangy zip to it. And as it goes down, as you glug, 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 and devour the contents to the point where, if you could, you would take your tongue and wipe the inside of the bottle. It is that absolute delicious. You're not sure how. You're not sure why. You're not sure where the whiffs and ghosts of impressions that begin assailing you are coming from. But you know what Zach was feeling the day he left home. You know what Zach felt when Drew first chose them to be in this life. You know the pleasure that Zach receives from playing in front of a crowd that actually enjoys his music, where it is not simply a backdrop to their evening, but it is in fact their evening. You know the doubts and recriminations that assail Zach on a nightly basis, and how Zach erects walls to keep those feelings from invading his space. You know how many times Zach has contemplated heading to the roof and watching the sun break the horizon line. Your own doubts aside, your own recriminations, your own several 100,000 issues you have with being kindred are like a grain of sand in a desert compared to the sheer weight, width, and breadth of those feelings you are getting the ghost of. You know what it's like to be loved, cherished, appreciated by Calabalarshi, who loves, cherishes, and appreciates almost nothing else in the world. You know, as you empty the bottle and give it a moment, as that after drink burp comes along, just as good going down the second time. And already having felt close to Zach, already having felt close to the other members of the coterie, it is another brick in the wall. It is another stone upon your load. It is another straw upon the camel's back. Because part of how Seth has survived as a kindred is by keeping the actual, real emotions away. How he has managed to survive the pernicious evil that he is has been keeping the emotions away. And yet here they are. And as if someone has found a way to pry his eyes open and force him to see the full brightness of the sun for the first time in several decades. What am I
saying? That bitch.
You're something you want?
I slammed that bottle like a bitch.
Oh yeah.
Because I need it.
Oh yeah. You are at hunger 1.
Oh shit. That's some good fucking wine. But at the end of the day, once the bottle leaves his lips, Seth is looking at Zach in a whole new light. A level of understanding that Zach has probably not seen in a while, and he may actually notice.
And once Zach stomps out the 2 cigarettes and looks up, he sees the look on Seth's face.
Seth's face is a combination of, because of his new blood potency level, it's bleached out more than what Zach might be used to. But it's also sadder and conveying a level of understanding, a level of camaraderie that didn't exist before. Because Seth is pretty good at being a number 2 without investing emotionally, but he's now invested in Zach's being, his actions and his reactions to things. And he doesn't hide it well. Seth is not used to feeling these feelings. He doesn't have an innate ability to hide his reaction to these feelings like a Ventru or Torrid or a Mite. So it's writ large. He now the bottle is empty and he's gotten flooded with all of these things. His face is projecting that emotional response up to the ability for Kindred to have any emotional response. He's not actually trying to hide. He's not making any real effort to subsume those reactions. Just letting them wash over him because he understands that he is the last remembrance of this person, this thing that created this bottle that he just knocked down like it was going out of style. I don't know what Zach's response to that is going to be, because it's writ large on Seth's face.
And as Zach looks, and his own understanding dawns on him, and he says it out loud. You've just been inside my head, haven't you?
I've seen what portions exist within your contribution. So yes, you can say I've been inside your head, and what secrets you wish me to keep, I will keep. But know that it hasn't lessened you in any way in my own thinking. And I don't think it'll lessen you in the thinking of others.
Well, that would depend on just what you've learned.
Anything I learned, you and I can discuss later. And you could tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. You could tell me if I need to keep it to myself or you want to discuss it. But there's no part of what I learned that makes me think less of you in any way.
That is very reassuring. And the look on Zach's face basically says that sentence for him, even as he's saying it out loud.
My room is always open. And if at some point my office becomes available, that's always open to you too. If you want to talk about what I may or may not have learned, I'm available to you at any point.
Speaking of being available at any point, as Dia knocks on the door and the tears or the sobs attempt to subside, as it's clear something untoward. Give us a moment. Just.
Did we lose you?
And there's scrambling, and there's motion, and there's something moving, and the sound of cloth, and it's interesting. Not having kids, not having children, not having young humans who attempt to hide things is not a usual sound for Dia. There's usually a "may I come in?" Of course, after all, it is your place, or some such. Yes, there's hurried movements.
Gia kind of gets to the point of not wanting to be there. Look, ladies, I understand you're used to having privacy, but I'm mostly doing this out of attempting to be friendly and respectful. I will open the door in a few seconds.
Faye opens the door and steps out. Her still smoking bit of marijuana between two fingers, the salty streaks of tears dried on her face. She looks between you all, and her eyes settle on Muzan. These are not the eyes of someone who has not smoked for years. These are not the eyes of someone who is not unaccustomed to the THC and there being the entirety of what they're smoking, reddened from tears. Her eyes big and bright, her once smiling face a distant memory in this particular moment as she Stella's getting ready. Yeah, everything's okay. How's everything with you? And even though she's addressing you, Dia, her gaze, her eyes are locked on Muzan's face. She doesn't even notice the nearly waist-height wolf that is sitting between you and Muzan. Her eyes are all for that gaping maw, those almost electrically greenish yellow eyes, the teeth that look as if they've been carved from stone and go row after row back into the darkness that is their throat and mouth.
Dia, seeing where the gaze is, very purposefully steps in between so that the line of sight is them directly. And looking back at Muzan, could you go check on our other guest? Oh, other guest. Not the first one, but the one that came in last night.
Yeah, sure. Where'd you put him?
She pats at her waist and gives him a key. And there's a number on it that should match to at least one of the doorknobs or something in the club downstairs that they know isn't a normal room that's being used. That one. And thank you. And then looking back at Faye, you said, came out? Faye. Look, darling. It's cute. You think you can fib to me?
No, Stella's coming out in a second. She's just not ready.
No, your tears. The tears. It's all in your face. If nothing was wrong, what were you crying over? I could hear you all the way down the hallway, matter of fact. Sobbing. So, what is it?
I plead the fifth.
Court, and I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, but the fifth is part of the Constitution. It's one of our unalienable rights. I don't have to say anything that's going to incriminate me in anything else. I'm not going to. No. A moment later, Stella steps out in a robe, one of the many robes provided to the rooms for use. It's a plain white satiny number that is lined with chemise so that it is soft against the skin. And she steps out, her hair still damp from the shower inside the suite, shoeless and skin nicely scrubbed. Hi.
Hello, I'm your friend.
She's looking mostly at your collar and your chest and your hips and taking in Frost. And is Muzan leaving?
Yes, but he's gonna whisper in his ear before going what you messaged me. And I'll message that to Dia.
Okay, hearing what Muzan whispers in her ear, she looks at them both. I don't know how much Mama Cass told you about what we are and what it is that we can do, or some of the things that we can do. One of the things that we can do is smell blood. So, apparently, something has happened, and I would like to know what the hell is going on. Either the easy way or the hard way.
They look to each other.
That's very pointed at them.
What's that, Frost?
I said, as Dio says, the easy way or the hard way, he doesn't give a shit. He's just going in.
How he doesn't have thumbs?
They close the door?
Yes.
Can't I just break through the door?
Go right ahead. Roll your strength and brawl.
Cool. I like being in beast form. Is that I just have 6 physical dice. Fuck it.
Okay. As Frost lunges forward, Stella drags Faye out of the way and they tumble to the ground as he goes barreling through the door. What's Frost's hunger currently?
2.
Would you be so kind as to roll your resolve plus composure?
Okay. That would be the beast composure. Not my actual stat.
Correct.
If I remember correctly.
Correct.
Which is a lot less.
Well, you know, these things happen.
Composure plus what?
Resolve.
You have to make it mean to me. Like, really mean. Oh no.
Here's the funny thing is, wolves, while being apex predators in the wild, will in times of famine become carrion hunters as well. They typically don't, because there's usually enough fauna for them to hunt successfully, but in the times where there is not, and where there are not great amounts of prey, they will scavenge and steal hunts from other predators. So being awash in the cooling scent of flesh, being awash in the scent of blood spilled, and while there was more than a small effort in cleaning such things up, to the sensitive nose of beast and kindred, oh, it's like rolling in a field of daisies. The scent washes over everything, and the sheep and others used to hide the source of the blood and the stench is nothing as Frost begins tearing through $500 sheets to get to the corpse beneath and begin feeding. Your dog being consumed by a wolf has a difficult feeling arising. The two girls still on the floor, prostrate before you, Frost tearing through the sheet to the body beneath. The signs of a struggle all through the room. The furniture being moved was being moved back into place. The passageway still open. Do right was never a sentiment that this particular individual ever had. And much like your beast, his was far too strong for him to control, leading him into far more trouble than he probably deserved. Killing is never an easy thing. It's even more difficult when, even in defense, the savagery that was unleashed.
Okay, wait. Whose body is on the floor?
Your dog. The human you purchased.
Ladies, I am sure there's some explanation for this. What is going on here? Frost, leave it!
Stella stands up, summoning what strength of character she actually has. I did it. I don't know what he was to you. I don't know if he was like my cousin who works for my brother. I don't know if he was your servant or whatever else. But if you want to punish anybody, you punish me. I did it. He came through your passage, your tunnels back there, and tried to do things. And I couldn't let him do that to Stella. I couldn't let him do that to Faye. It is me that you have to punish. I took that from you. So whatever you want to do, fine. Stella, Faye didn't have anything to do with this. No. Shh. Faye didn't have anything to do with this. This was me. I'm not sorry either. He deserved that and more.
Dear kind of shakes her head and rolls her eyes at the both of them. There is no need for the dramatics. I understand what you're trying to tell me. He attempted to hurt you, you defended yourself. That is all there is to it. And I do apologize that such a beast as this managed to escape where I had him held and attempt to do you harm. So again, no, I will not punish you. I'm humbly sorry that you almost went through that, and good on you for defending yourself. I will make sure that we clear the body out and give you a different room if it's something you wish, so you don't have to sleep in this one again. One without a passage to it. Sorry. And then looking, because Muzan did he walk away entirely, or did he stick around after he said the thing about in the pocket?
Muzan would have walked away to the room to find the person, basically. So he would not be there for this.
Excellent. Excellent. And you made your way through the piscateers. It's very elaborate, and hidden access to various places has always been something that's been entertaining. The idea of it, it's like a Rubik's Cube that slides and moves, but nothing actually does. It's just you just discover or find a new way into another portion of the building, either above ground or below ground. There are several thousand different boat holes, watch stations, hallways, passageways, tunnels throughout the building. Finding a new corner, a new nook is always fun. It's like the gift that keeps giving. All of the secrets that were built into the place, from its original use as a speakeasy to helping the rum runners to, you're sure the building goes back even farther than that. And finding the cell, because that is what it is. There's no sense of comfort or ease. There's no titillation. There's just the hidden reality that it is a cell. And not a cell built for anyone or anything that is excessively monstrous. It's the sort of cell that would keep someone sedate. You had a little too much to drink and you don't deserve to be here. Now the walls, the doors, the locks are strong, nice, solid deadbolts that slide into place that you can't do much with. But as you ease down the tunnel of cells used for isolation and various other things, an open door would be odd, but not out of place. The fact that something broke out like an animal, like a wild beast caged or caught in the wild, is a sight. You don't expect that savagery from most living things, but lo and behold, here it is, the splintered wood, the broken and bent lock. You can imagine the number of hours during daylight that were spent doing everything short of breaking every bone in that person's body to escape.
Fuck, that's not good. Does Muzan smell blood in the cell?
Yes.
He's going to follow the trail of blood, or the scent of the blood then.
Finding the tunnel is one of animalistic understanding. Go toward the semblance of fresh air. The semblance of fresh air that comes from the passageways leading down and underneath the reservoir behind the piscateers that is used to fish out of. That rolling, moving water slipping through certain cracks and causing a small breeze would attract almost nothing except for rats, small beasts who are seeking escape. And just like that, you follow it and find yourself in the girl's room. Stepping into the space as Frost is snout deep in the remains of your dog. And you hear Dia call out, "Frost, enough!"
Muzan just stares at the body and just thinks back to the previous night and all the bullets he took to save this man so they could use him later. And here he is, dead on the ground. And all Muzan can say in the moment is, "Oh God, fucking damn it!" All right, who did it?
I did, Stella says. Not quite squaring up, but you can tell that slight step forward as she intersperses herself between you and viewing Faye is the sort of final act of defiance that someone is preparing to put their all into a failed exercise. There's no way that she could be anything more than a toothpick for you to clean your teeth after a decent meal. But there is some spirit there. There is some fight there, and it is clear based on the mass of missing. Though it's not actually missing, it has been compounded, pulped in skull of your dog. Even beneath the sheet, you could tell that the already misshapen face has been caved in. And looking about the room, it doesn't take long to figure out that within a very loose definition of everything in this place has been used to make sure that that person doesn't quantify as a person any longer. And judging by Stella's wet hair and skin, it is clear that she also showered afterwards to remove the splatter and the stain and the small bits of bone that always happen. And it's sad that you are aware as to what it actually requires to cave in someone's skull and how far those little small pieces of people will fly with enough force.
Luzon looks at... Oh, go ahead.
No.
Luzon looks to Stella and just says, I don't know whether to be pissed off or impressed. Maybe I should be both. But there goes our fucking ticket to the fights. So now what the fuck do we do about that, Dia?
Technically, it doesn't really matter then anyway, because they would have been last night, and we missed them anyway by having to chase him down and dealing with the whole other situation that happened. So now we need to talk to Kalabalashi and see what has changed and what else we can do. But in the meantime, help, please, or take the body away from Frost, because I'm tired of you cheating on it. I told him to leave it, and he's not leaving it, obviously. So we need to get it out of the room, and I need to send a cleaning crew in here, and so much to do. God.
So much to do, so little time. And as that sentiment is expressed and realized and understood, that there is a very carefully constructed card of houses, and you all have removed one of those cards. Well, to be exact, one of your guests has removed one of those cards. You are unsure as to how soon or how quickly the house itself will implode, will fall in upon itself. You're hoping, as all smart people are resistant to do, you are in fact hoping. In your hope, we turn our gaze back to the bar where Zach and Seth are waiting. The staff, despite all of the recent attempts to murder one of their own, are doing what the staff does. They're preparing for the night, because at the end of the day, the show must go on. And then the air changes. It's a subtle inhalation that is held. It's almost as if all of the air in the room is being pulled out. Eyes are turned toward the stairway. The stairwell leading from the upstairs bar. Standing there is Decibel. Standing on his right, the tall Abraham-looking gentleman that accompanied him to the party. Standing on his left is a Juden. Following behind them are 6 men and women dressed in their livery. Now, normally, Dalton is not an open carry city, because Illinois is not an open carry state. but they are dressed in operational gear, which means they are holstered and wearing flak vests and bulletproof shells, and they slowly come down the stairs. I hope you don't mind my arrival. I understand this place is quite enjoyable, and I've had nothing but pleasure upon my last visit. Where might the senator be?
Stuff bristles. The advent of so many arms and obviously militant followers coming in all at once. Baron Decibel, allow me to procure the Baron for you. If you'd make yourself comfortable, I'm sure my friend here, Zach, will entertain you in the few moments that it will take me to find her.
Very good.
Zach looks up from this. I do have 2 instruments that I could use. Question is acoustic or electric better suited to your tastes?
Surprise me.
And so Zach grabs the acoustic. And hold on, let me look up a song.
Take it back later after a period of time. It's just starts to bleed, which is
Stealing something I know.
the least awful alternative. I think I could be right. It does feel like they could be. I do the same thing. It's just that it's going to take so long, and in some ways it gets worse before it gets better.
Hold on, let me mute for a moment.
And suffering symptoms.
Seth, during this time where Zach is a distraction, is immediately going into the back rooms to try to discover what Dia is up to, and warn her that Decibel has shown up with a cadre of armed personnel.
I would pay satellite and call all through the alley and maybe ask some conservative.
So I'm sure when Seth shows up towards the back room, what he sees is a girl in a robe, a girl with tears on her face, kind of squaring off against Muzan, the body on the ground, Frost still dog shaking it, and Dia looking incredibly frustrated.
He lets out one of those sighs that most fathers feel for when their children do something fucking ridiculous. And he looks at Dia and it's like, Dia, you have something you need to do. We'll take care of this. Decibel's here with armed guards. And right now, Zach is the only one holding him in bay.
And speaking of Zach, with his acoustic, decides to play an acoustic version of Don't Fear the Reaper.
Of course he does.
Crap. Me and my horrible horribly limited musical vocabulary.
Oh no, it's a great song. It is a perfectly apropos song, considering that in attendance is the heir apparent, all that is left after the decimation of the joint councils of authority for the Anarchs of Riverdale and the independent city-state of Dalton. In the last few weeks, barons have disappeared, and other members of Thornton Township have been forced to bend the knee in acceptance of Decibel as the highest, most powerful ranking member of Thornton Township. And after your coteries' graphic, gruesome murder of Baron Faustina, her territory, her domain is left to be divvied. After your coteries' murder and ending of Seferino's right-handed Juden, there is a matter that needs to be settled that hasn't quite happened. And with the thoughts of many things unyet finished, and with the sounds of Don't Fear the Reaper wafting through the bar, as the staff members attempt to regain their composure and continue cleaning, fixing, straightening things for a party which may never happen at this point. With all of those realities sitting there before the coterie, I'd like to thank you all for a lovely premiere episode. I look forward to what this season may hold. Good night, everybody.
Good night, boss.
Good night.
Right?
Have a good night.
Wait, have I leveled up Frost? No, I have not.